Okay, so what inspired me to start raising backyard chickens and turkeys? I guess I would say I never started. I had always began raising in my childhood. I grew up on a farm. We always had chickens and turkeys, and so it was just part of my life. My initial goals when I embarked on this journey was having cute pets for my kids to be raised with, responsibility for the kids to know where their food comes from, having fresh backyard eggs, having animals that will eat the food waste that we often have left over just because less food waste in the landfill that gets consumed by a backyard chicken is better. So I have no roosters, so I get fertilized eggs from my mom's chicken farm. I bring them home, I put them in the incubator. They have to stay in the incubator for 21 days. A turkey is 28 days. And the incubator keeps the chick at 99.5, and then you want the humidity high, and then the incubator also rolls them, which also keeps them from like sticking to a side while they're growing. So when they hatch, it can get really stressful. Sometimes there's a struggle that you want to help them out of the egg because they seem so stressed out and weak, but it takes a journey and patience both for the chick and for you to just, give it 24 to 48 hours. As long as it has air, it's probably safer and better off in the egg than out of the eggshell. This is a really interesting thing, how after they're born, they lay there for about 6 hours drying, flopping around, that kind of thing. And chicks in a conventional setting, they are only given 6 by 6 inches for the first month of life. And in our setting, they have maybe like a 4 foot by 4 foot enclosure where they have a heat light and food and water and their siblings, and we give them stuffed animals and a heating pad, and it's just a much more, I think, the way that it should be for them. What we give our chickens to eat is pretty much anything we have left over in the fridge that we would normally throw away. So whether that's salads or strawberry tops, egg shells, leftover breakfast like egg yolk, pretty much anything. The only thing I don't feed them is things that my dog can't eat because I don't want that in the backyard where my dog could find it. My initial goals when I embarked on this journey was really just to have farm fresh eggs and to give the kids responsibility. A typical day in the life of backyard chickens is I wake up because I've heard them making noise in their cage here. I get up and I check on the baby chicks, make sure they're okay and have clean water, and then I'll go out and just open the cage to let them out. They immediately want to get to the grass. I currently have 6 female adult chickens, 1 male turkey, and I have 11 babies that I have not sexed yet, so I don't know if they're males or females. Some of the tasks that I find most rewarding with raising chickens is getting to know their personalities. I have a chicken that will bite me and then let me pick her up. I have noticed that they really enjoy their food to be wet over dry. I get to know their likes and dislikes, and they actually have personalities, which I think if you're conventionally raising animals, you're not gonna get to know them or get to observe them in natural habitats where you actually know them. Okay, so one thing I would say with chickens is they are kind of foragers, so I love setting up their pen in a way that they can enjoy it. So instead of like smoothing out all of the bedding or smoothing out all of the hay, you actually want to leave it piled up, and they're going to go and scratch and settle all the bedding themselves. You want to give them a safe place to lay their eggs. Their eggs will be laid all over the yard, but they have some specific places that they like that are a little enclosed, darker, feel safe to them. You want to make sure they have access to sand or gravel because they want to fill their crop in order to process their food. I keep mealworms on hand because you want to go out to your chickens every day and offer them a treat so that they come to trust you and they'll come near you, and they'll just go and sit by the bag of mealworms until I walk over and give them like a tablespoon each. So that's pretty funny. The chickens usually put themselves to bed. I leave the door open all day to their cage, so if they want to go in there and lay down or lay an egg or anything, they have a place to get away from each other. And at nighttime, they just go into their cage to roost. I do think it's really important because we've gone from a lifestyle of having farm and agriculture to not having farm and agriculture in our homes, in our yards. That's more unique, and it's so dynamic to hold a baby chick or to see an egg hatching or to watch a chicken lay an egg or go collect a warm egg out of your yard or see what chickens do when they have a pile of mud or a pile of water. They love groundwater over like their container water 100 times to 1. So just getting to learn about this, it's something that I think should be shared with the next generation. My dog does not get the chickens because I train him yearly. He gets a refresher course, with baby chicks where he's not allowed to touch them. These are his brothers and sisters too. There's a lot of crazy frustration that can come from having chickens because especially in the summer here, you have to make sure they have ice, you have to make sure they have shade, you have to make sure they have cool water. But one good thing, there's a Bible verse that says, where there is no ox, the barn is clean, but much strength comes from the strength of the ox. And so anything that you have in your life, whether it's a person or a garden or a chicken, it's gonna require interaction with it. And much strength comes from it because all things, most entities give things. You know, the chickens give eggs and they give humor and personality and a hobby, and the garden gives and people give. And so kind of embracing the struggle, because after the struggle, there's a strength that comes from having that thing. So just embrace struggle and strength in both forms. Don't see it as just a struggle, because good comes from it too.